All right, we're here again, 1976, and this was what your trip with Grandpa Hain?
Yes,
on a horseback riding hike.
it was my reward for not only just being a Hain, and for graduating from high school. But it was, I guess, a family tradition that Grandpa
This was
would
something
take
he did every year. Or
with
every
the
few years?
grandchild. He would take one of his grandchildren, and usually a one-on-one on a trip of their choosing, so to speak.
And once you graduated, what, high school or something?
Yeah, so this was, I just probably graduated from high school, summer of '76. This is the bicentennial year.
I heard that Rick was invited on this, and he said, I don't want to go. And he refused to go, or didn't refuse, but he just said, I'm not going, and you did want to go. That was the story I heard from
Wow.
Mom and Dad, I think.
Yeah,
He
okay.
didn't want to go. I think Grandpa offered to take any grandchild that graduated from high school.
I never got this because by the time I graduated, he was too old for this.
Which begs to ask, why did I say yes? Was it?
Well, we're about to watch the movie about why you said yes.
So this is the Raywa Wilderness, and this is an area it's in Colorado. It's in the Rocky Mountains, I guess, and it sort of feeds into or leads to Wyoming at some point. Because I think I remember as we were on our horses.
Is Denver on the other side of those mountains?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I know that we had to go through Colorado to get there. It was a long trip. There I am. Looks like a long sleeves. Need a haircut. Looks like.
You needed a haircut through most of this decade.
Kind of got a Cobra Kai thing going there too, huh? But yeah, that was.
How many days were you up there? Was it a weekend?
8 days, I think. 8 days.
A week and
yeah, it was, and no toilets and stuff like that. It was all latrines and.
Do you remember coming back with that was great or that was kind of rough or?
Well, it was fun to ride horses, and I think it was a unique experience to. I'd never done anything like this before.
This was before Norway?
This was before Norway, yes. I would probably end up in Norway. Well, ended up in Scandinavia, in Sweden by the end of this year. But this is the wilderness area of Colorado and Wyoming. There's Grandpa.
There's Grandpa.
There was a fish.
And you had mentioned that you had a long drive from Michigan to here with just you and Grandpa.
Yeah, all I remember is how it took a long time to get here. We stayed at cheap hotels. They weren't bad hotels, but they weren't the best hotels either.
You and Grandpa shared a room?
Yeah, yes, we shared a room. Of course, you're not going to pay extra for two separate rooms. But I think we got the separate beds. We didn't sleep in the same bed.
I've done that with Grandpa once too.
And is this me on the horse? Probably not. This is the ranchers. I was trying to remember. There I am, and I'm probably trying to be real.
Cover your head?
Yeah, kind of Clint Eastwood-like with my.
You had a bit of a Clint Eastwood fascination going on at this time.
Perhaps a little
Maybe
bit.
A little later.
Yeah, I think that I had corduroys on there too. Probably.
That's funny. Maybe. Not jeans, corduroys.
Yeah, I think so.
Great cords.
There weren't a lot of young people on this trip. I'm trying to, as I look at this and I think back, I know there was a woman who was a photographer. Because she later sent me a photo of me on my horse, which I have somewhere in my archives. I want to say my horse's name was Charlie Brown, but that's just the name that's coming to me. And there I am, as always, studious. Looked like I was reading a book as I was sitting on the latrine. Or was I? Open latrines.
You're reading a book?
Yeah, it looked like I had a book, and looks like Grandpa got me. And
were you probably reading Tolkien?
You know what? Maybe I was. That could have been.
That looked like a really big, thick book, and I know those Tolkien books.
Could have been Lord of the Rings, yep. I don't know who that was. If that was a dude or a girl. Those are some of the people that were...
Everyone putting their head down. No one wants to be on video or on film.
Maybe it was part of the witness protection program. Some people were sent on this trip. They didn't want to be photographed. There's all the horses.
8 days of this.
Yeah, and most of it's slow riding, too. Then we would set up camp, and
it's just a bunch of strangers. It's not like this is a group of Grandpa's friends or anything.
Well, Grandpa might have known one or two of these people.
Okay.
This is what Grandpa and Grandma did for many years. They were Trail Riders of America.
I see.
Members.
Grandma was not here. Dora didn't.
No, Grandma was not.
You and
this
Grandpa.
was just
She
Grandpa
went on
and
a
I.
lot of these, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Those were our kind of tents. That's a saw. Get ready to saw something, I guess.
Here's two dogs fighting over a bone. I saw, or maybe they're playing. I see the dog tail wagging, but one's got a bone, and the other one's trying to pull it out.
There's dinner. Dinner was part of the deal. These ranch hands would make up some chicken and whatever else kind of stew they were making. That's me in the background with the orange coat and the blue stripe on the sleeve, I think.
Do you feel like when you went into this a boy and you came out a man?
Yeah. I think that's what happened on this trip. This was my rite of passage. I learned how to poop in the wilderness. I think that's something that not everybody gets to learn how to do. Riding a horse at 1/2 a mile per hour is another, major feat of this. It's trying to stay on a horse that's moving. Look how fast they're moving.
And so when you rode these, you would stop and camp. When you finally rode, you'd end up where? When it was over, you ended up back at a parking lot with your cars and drove home?
More or less, something like that. I feel like where we ended up was where there was a bus or something to take us back to
I see.
Where we were, but I'm not positive about that.
And the bus trip took an hour or two to get home.
Like, I don't think there was any footage of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There was a lot of pretty scenery.
This is Grandpa shooting.
Beautiful mountains. Yeah, Grandpa's shooting this. Those, who knows, daffodils or something?
Mom will be able to hear all that, just so you know. Mom? Okay.
Well, we're recording here. What the? There's some of the ranch people and some of the people on the trip. Looks like she's having a fun time. That guy looks like he's got something with his coat. Yeah, he probably just stole that from somebody. There's a rainbow. By the way, there is no pot of gold at the rainbow. In fact,
I can see there's the end right there.
Yeah, and you thought that's the end, but every time I got closer to it, it kept moving away from me.
Box right there.
I don't even remember the rainbow happening, but I guess it did there because there's footage to show us. The Rewa. Did I mention we did see elk? That was like the big exciting part of the trip for me, and I have a feeling that Grandpa didn't get movies of it.
Yeah, I don't think there's film of elk on this.
The guy leading our pack, whatever, told us all to stop and look over to the right, and we looked down over to the right, and there in the valley was a whole herd of elk that were kind of moving through.
I'm also probably right in saying you probably have never seen this footage before.
Probably not. These girls had pigtails, it looks like. Braids or something.
Like ropes.
There's me. I could have maybe braided my hair on that trip. I still can't tell if that's a dude or a girl there.
I think it's a young boy.
Young boy.
Looks like a teenage,
I must have befriended
as
another young person. I must have befriended him. But I don't remember anything about him.
Making toast.
He was making toast. Trees. Is that the one? Maybe is that footage where there might be elk in the distance? Now, these are pack horses or mules or something there.
Yeah, they look like mules with
I would
supplies.
say they might be separate from us, our party, but there's a chance that that's like our tents and everything else following. But that's a lot of pack horses.
Yeah, that's what they did. They brought everything you needed along with them.
Right, but it's just that there's like 20, 30 mules here.
Yeah,
that's
it's a lot more than what one group.
It seems like that's more than we would have needed for our trip, but maybe they.
Any estimation on how many people were on your trip with you? Was it a
20,
couple dozen? Okay.
Yeah, 20, maybe 20, 30 people.
I wonder if there's your group, probably right
From
there.
our group, I can't remember. We might have even gone in 2 parties. I don't remember how that all split up. Probably at this time,
About
my
12
whole mindset was
12 animals there.
probably just wondering why I didn't have a girlfriend yet. And so that was probably what I contemplated this whole time as I was riding the horse. Some of the supply train there, I guess, with our tents. There's probably our tents wrapped up there. Shame I don't remember any names of any of the ranchers or any of the
It
guys.
sounds like this trip didn't affect you that much.
It's
I'm, like-
in my mind, all this trip was left me was if anybody ever said, "Hey, did you ever ride a horse?" I could always say, "Yes, I rode a horse once in the Rewa Wilderness in 1976."
There you go. And there's, I think that's a boy.
Yeah, it does look like a boy with a yellow knit cap that says something.
Well, when Grandpa paid for something, it was significant.
So those dudes, maybe they're swapping stories. The guy's smoking a pipe. There's that guy, that kid.
This is why it's so important to have this stuff narrated.
Yeah, that kid. The kid who.
There's people in yellow there.
Yeah, the raincoats. There's me doing my nails.
I remember that jacket you wore a lot.
I did. I probably felt it made me look even cooler than I already thought I was looking.
And we're coming to the end here again. That was it.
Wow, there's the Raywall Wilderness, people. 7 days. 8 days in the wilderness.